Welcome to the Tennishackery podcast. This is episode number 22. Tennishackery is the place where we discuss all things about tennis that relate to the fundamentals, the fitness, and the mind game. In short, wholesome tennis. We are a group of extremely enthusiastic San Francisco Bay Area based tennis aficionados slash geeks slash coaches. Today is episode 22. We have Soham and Coach Craig with us. Hey guys, how are you doing?
Great.
Hey, Tarun, thank you.
Yeah. So today it's going to be a short episode. We are going to be discussing about guess what? Indian Wells, the tournament that just ended yesterday. So let's go. Uh, let's start with Craig. So Craig, any broad thoughts, any themes from the tournament that you kind of picked on?
Yeah, so I usually go every year. I didn't go this year, and I'm thankful because it looked cold and windy.
Yeah, it did.
But there was some great tennis, and the men's and women's tennis both proved to be pretty awesome. And anytime you have what was it, a 12 and 13 seed in the men's final, not exactly what you're expecting. So,
Yeah.
but the quality, if you look at the play and the match. Um, I mean, it was just every match that Runa played, every match that Draper played. I mean, it's just high quality, great tennis, no short. I mean, it's just blue collar, hardworking tennis here and there. And then on the ladies' side, it's Andreeva was obviously the big story. So Mira had a great couple weeks and it has had a great year.
Yes.
And Sabalenka as well, just falling short obviously in a couple you know, at the AO and here, but just being a staple at the top, gracious and funny and charismatic, just a great sponsor for the game. I think she's fantastic. Puts in a lot of work. Her and her team, they just have a great thing going. And funny thing Andreeva said, it's like if I had your team, I forget how that
Yeah.
exchange went, but they
Yeah.
had a funny thing and
Yeah.
Sabalenka said that. She's like, if
Yeah.
I had your team at like 18, so it's important that tennis is not just, and this is what we work on, right, as a group, you, me, and Alex and Soham.
Yeah.
It takes a team to get things done in tennis, whether you're a parent, a child, a coach, all three of you, four of you, whoever it is, need to be on the same page. It's nice to see that being done down in the desert. So
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah. Hey, Soham, what do you think? Any broad thoughts? You were there last year, right? Yeah, we had an episode on that. I now remember. Yeah.
Yes, sir. So, first of all, I want to mention before I get into Indian Wells is, guys, it's a privilege, and we are very thrilled that we have now completed 1 year of Tennis Hackery since we formed. Um, Congratulations to all of us, but more importantly, I think we are very, very grateful to all our viewers, fans, people who comment, people who give us feedback, positive, negative. Some of the guests that we have had on the show, we have some exciting lineup coming up in the next month or so. So, guys, make sure to subscribe and listen. And overall, I think we were able to have 21 episodes, right, Tarun?
Yes,
Uh,
21. Yeah.
it's we have we are working on a beta product, which we will have out in public to our clients very soon. We are very excited and blessed at Tennis Acre. So that's the first thing I want to say. Pat on the back for everyone on this episode, and Alex, who is busy. I don't want to tell you the reason why, but but I'm glad because she's following the theme of tennis hackery and living her life in a wholesome way, like we all
Wholesome
strive to do.
tennis. Yes, indeed.
Exactly. So, in terms of, in light of what we're talking about in this episode, I was actually out for 3 weeks. I was visiting back in India with to see family. The craziest thing, guys, is even while I was there and I was not at Indian Wells this year, I was following every match and I would like text message you guys and say, "Did you see the score here? What happened here?" So just as tennis enthusiasts or geeks or whatever you might call it, I was, you know, following everything and just, so exciting that Indian Wells, it's like treated as the fifth slam, right?
Yep.
So I hope to be there next year. Um, Definitely, Craig already touched on the stories of the tournament, men's and women's. Um, I want to, aside from the players that Craig did mention on the men's and women's side, there were some interesting results. None of the top 10 seeds made it, which in itself is interesting.
Yep.
I think Sasha and Novak lost in the first rounds, first matches, which was very interesting. Uh, Carlos was playing really well, I thought, in the tournament. Um, he was beaten in a close match, and there were a couple of outstanding matches. Craig, I think you and I were kind of going back and forth whether it's the Monfils versus Dimitrov match, and I think I commented somewhere, I think on Instagram or something. If anybody watched that match, it was great quality. It is almost like two veterans going at it. But what happened in the end kind of defined what tennis stands for, and what we believe in Tennishackery, what we stand for is tennis not necessarily is all about the fire, the competitiveness, trying to beat up on each other. But the way Monfils and Dimitrov embraced each other at the end, sharing a smile, a laugh, a tight hug, irrespective of who won. That to me was one of the un what do I say? One of the highlights which not a lot of
Yeah,
people
underappreciated
speak
for
about.
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Underappreciated, exactly. That's the word I
Yes,
was
yeah,
looking
yeah,
for. Thanks.
yeah,
And to me, that it doesn't matter who won in the end, but it was so nice to see
yeah,
that,
yeah.
and I enjoyed that a lot. And of course, there are other matches like Ben Shelton, who I think Craig and I both, and we like him a lot. He was in a good battle, some really good matches, and I'm very happy for Jack Draper. I think he's super
Yeah.
talented. Rune finally showed up. It's been
Yeah.
a year or so of kind of not hitting his peak form, but he has the talent. So it was good to see him in the final. And in terms of the women's side, yeah, I'm very happy to see a new winner. I mean, I think women's tennis this year at least, or if anybody heard Craig at the end of last year, I think
And the big three.
some people definitely took offense to the big three. I
It's
think we,
I
we
don't
may
do
not have a
well in Vegas very
yeah.
apparently.
So
So
Craig,
it's
I don't know about a big three, but it's a pretty competitive field out there.
indeed.
Sabalenka, Mira. It's good to see Madison. I'm a big fan of Madison. I think I'm great to. Then there's Coco. There's Iga. Sabalenka, obviously. Uh, it's. I think it's going to be hard to predict this year who's going to finish as the top player in terms of the race just this year.
Yeah.
So exciting.
I agree.
Exciting for sure. And Tarun, what are your thoughts? I mean, you did you watch matches? I know you're busy. What did you think of the final?
I watched. I didn't. To be honest, I didn't follow the tournament fully as I normally do. But just work and bunch of other stuff. But it was. I saw parts of the women's final. I thought Andreeva played a very good match, and her ability to just switch directions and constantly kind of keep the other player moving around the court. It was amazing to watch, and the one thing that one of the scores that really stood out to me, we are all big fans of Maddie Keys, after the amazing career and the culminating in the Australian Open, but. Any thoughts on what happened to her? What happened in her match, like versus Sabalenka? I just saw the scores, and it was like 0-1. Was it the conditions? I heard something about challenging conditions. So, that's just a question for you, Craig and Soham.
Yeah. So for me, I saw the converted highlights. So,
Yeah.
I saw the 1 minute and 30-second version of it.
Yeah.
And it would be a, a really high quality rally.
Yeah.
Both players, Sabalenka, Keys hitting the ball really well. And then all of a sudden, Sabalenka hitting a winner. a really high quality rally. All of a sudden, Keys hitting one out.
Yeah,
So it didn't look like,
yeah,
and the highlights are,
yeah,
obviously very
yeah,
subjective, but I think Sabalenka was on a heater, and Keys not wasn't her night, and I think that combination made that
yeah,
score. It wasn't one or the other. It was a combination of both of those things. And,
yeah.
Keys has had a great year. Sabalenka has also, without winning, a bunch of tournaments, has had a great year. And I think, you know, Keys laid a dud and Sabalenka continued to play really, really well. Like we all know, Sabalenka has that game. She has the game that can come out and be in a key semifinal, can come out and lay a hammer on anybody, regardless. It has no recourse for anyone. She can beat Iga, Maddie, Coco. It doesn't matter who it is. She can come out any day, just like Pete used to do, and she can lay a hammer down. And she did. And it wasn't a great day. It wasn't a great for Maddie. It would have been a 6-3, 6-3. It was really not a great day, and it
Yeah.
turned out to be a tough one. So for sure.
Mhm. Yep.
I
Yeah.
mean, Tarun,
Yeah.
were there any other surprising scores for you in the tournament?
I honestly did not expect Mira Andreeva to go this far, actually. I knew I have been listening to Andy Roddick, following Andy Roddick's tennis podcast. Last year, he was quite bullish on Andreeva. He was saying that he's quite impressed by her tennis IQ, the geometry of the court, her good understanding of the geometry, and how she switches directions and stuff. I mean, this year I could see the whole thing coming together. I mean, I saw parts of her matches against Rybakina when she took her out, I think in the second or third round. That was a good match. She played a very good match. I mean, Rybakina had no chance. She was dominating the rallies throughout. So, I mean, it was pretty impressive. I mean, really impressed by Andreeva.
What are your thoughts on Sasha?
Sasha, I mean, he lost. Whom did he lose to? Do you know whom he lost to in the first round?
Uh,
Greek sport.
Greek sport.
Yeah, great sport. Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things. I don't know if he was ready for the season. I'm not really sure. So I think, yeah, I'm no idea actually what happened to him. Didn't follow that match. What do
I
you think, Craig? Any ideas? What's happening to him?
Yeah, so I followed that match quite a bit, and I can only speak from my experiences when I was maybe promoted to another tournament, and I was like, oh wow, hey, I'm the one seed. It's not I necessarily earned it. It's because so and so wasn't available, and the other guy got out, and then there was a third guy who was injured. And oh, guess what? I'm the one seed, and you end up losing in the first round. It's like, ouch. I wasn't necessarily prepared as much as I thought I would be. And I think there was a combination of things. There's some built-in flaws in Zverev's game with the forehand and the serve. Serve's gotten a little bit better, but I think the forehand is still, listen, when you're 6'4", 6'5", and you just committed to rolling the forehand in as a neutral ball and you're not very aggressive, and you have the best backhand in the world, or top two maybe, with Novak, and you choose to not develop that forehand in a way that can be a killer like Sinner has and like Alcaraz has and all these guys who are competing with you. It caught up, and he paid the price. And he wasn't mentally or physically or technically prepared. And a guy in the mid, I don't even know what Greek sport was. Is he ranked in the top 40, 50?
Yeah, I think
And
he's a
he
top
got him.
50, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But still, it's like,
Mhm.
when
Yep.
you're a one seed, and it's like
Yeah.
whether you walk into that one seed or however it happens, you gotta, this is your opportunity to lay a hammer down. And he's just not that type of guy, I don't think. And he's proven that over and over and over again. And
Mm.
I think you saw that in the US Open that he was in with Team. Was he up 2 sets to
Yeah.
love?
Yeah. Serving for the
And he
match
had
too.
the
Yeah.
opportunity to lay a hammer down and he didn't. And he's had the opportunity to lay the hammer down in many other tournaments. Some of the Masters 1000s, he's done it fine. But in some of these really big tournaments, it's not been that way. And it's kind of a thing. And to see players like Sabalenka, um, and some other players, Keys, kind of overcome that, I kind of expect a little more from him. And
Yeah.
for Zverev not to do that, it's
Yeah.
maybe I'm
Yep.
being harsh, but
Yeah.
it's a thing. And I think the locker room knows it a little bit.
Hmm.
It's and I think some of these guys kind of go out with nothing to lose
Yeah.
and they
Swing
make it
freely.
happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. It's a thing. We're all tennis players, we're all coaches. You guys have all been there coaching your kids and yourself when you go out in a tennis court. It's like I'm out here on a court against somebody better. Let's go. And there I think that's what it is.
I think there is an element of pressure weighing in on him because I read somewhere that if going in as a number one seed, potentially if he does well, he can overtake in number one ranking wise. A lot of that, I think more of his is it's not about the talent. I think he has the talent and the work ethic. But this is where I think he's a great example of a person who, I mean, tennis is not just about talent or technique or hard work, right? There's a lot of other things involved, like mental fitness, all of that kind of stuff. And it just shows how important the mental part of the game is, really. Like, and that's what actually has differentiated the elite people from the rest of the crowd. And I think I just want to bring up Andy Murray and Stan Wawrinka. They won 3 slams each. It's still incredible to me that they played in an era of three of the legends of the game, and they still were able to win slams by beating one of these guys. And
Sometimes two of those guys in the
sometimes
same
two of
tournament.
those guys, that's right. But nature of the draw. And it's just imagine if they were in a different like period of time in tennis. Uh, I really respect Andy and Stan to be able to compete, lose, then go back and restart the process and train, and it's hard nowadays. I mean, besides Sinner and Alcaraz, I don't see another guy who is comparable to that level yet. Um, I really think these two will win more slams when once Sinner
Of
comes
course.
back.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's going to be difficult to beat these guys.
Yeah.
It could be a one-off, maybe, like Rune or someone winning a slam, but it's tough. It to me, what I'm saying is mental part of the game is so crucial. You have to be so tough mentally,
Yeah.
battle tested, knowing how to win from a losing position, knowing ability to serve out a match and close a match, not be nervous.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
crazy how important that is. And people who have come out of it, like Craig, you mentioned, whether it's women's or men's, it's remarkable.
Yeah.
I can't
Because
agree more, Soham, where whether it's Keys or Sabalenka, who's worked on it for years, Keys more recently, but Draper, right?
yep.
Like, stuck in the 20s, the 30s, the teens, and now all of a sudden having a run, that those margins for me have never been necessarily physical. Those are more the mental margins of it's like trying to improve from an A minus to an A plus. Those are like everybody's putting the best ability is availability.
Right.
All the top 100, 150, 200, they're all out there every day, 6, 7 days a week, playing tennis, hours and hours a day, fitness, mental. But then that's that thinnest margin what are they doing mentally to get over the hump to go from that 20 to 14, 14 to 8? Like, and I know they're not sitting at home, like in the locker room or having dinner. It's like, what do I need to do to get to, like, I'm 32 in the world. What do I need to do to get in the top 20? They're not necessarily saying that, but they're going to figure out a way to do it. And what are they doing? And that's the part, meditation wise, Zen, visualization. And you can see that. Would you guys agree that Sabalenka and Keys are very different players
Yes. Yeah.
mentally as
Mentally,
well?
yes. Yes. I think
Yes,
so. Yeah.
and they got their different ways.
Yes.
And Draper, Rune, they're like all very different. And what I love about what we've done as a tennis hackery platform for the last few months is we've explored this mental platform to try to go from this A minus to A plus deal for pros and or recreational players, whoever. Like, you're trying to improve these thinnest margins ever, whatever they might be relative to who we are. It's hard, and it's a little
Yeah.
different for each of us.
It's
And
very different.
in these future episodes, we'll keep exploring that with some of the people we'll have on. And it's just it's really difficult. And it's not just about what you bring the day of, but it's what you're doing all those other hours of the day. And it's the best ability is not availability always on the court,
Yep.
but what are we doing off the court
Yeah.
and how we
Yeah.
handling. It's like, okay, I gotta play Rafa tomorrow, and then I gotta beat Roger, and then I gotta beat Novak. Oh my God.
Not easy.
And yes, it's not easy. Like
Yeah.
Soham
Yeah.
said, there's, guys who, whether it's Murray or Wawrinka, if they weren't in the same era, and Keys and Sabalenka, like how many, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's just very, tennis is hard. Tennis
Very.
is hard.
Tennis is hard for sure, Craig. And
Yes.
even I mean, imagine what it is for people who start late in tennis and then they're figuring out from fundamentals. They haven't even got to the mental part yet. But you know what? I think I was having a conversation with one of my students the other day. I said, you know what? Fitness and technical skills you can work on a daily basis, but one thing which kind of comes from within and you have like a natural ability, innate ability for, is that mental part. If somebody comes to me who has a really strong mental capacity, or they're just mentally really strong, I would bet on them to do well long term, because yeah, physical they can work hard, technical they can pick up, but it's so important to be mentally tuned in, to be strong, to be able to withstand stress,
Yeah.
right, Craig? I mean, I think those are such important qualities
Which
for
to have.
someone
Yeah.
to become
Sure.
a
Yep.
good tennis player.
Yep.
But like you said, Craig, I think we are looking forward to having exciting guests in future episodes who are going to shed more light into this, who are experts in some of these areas. And as a brand, Tennishackery, we want to explore all the different parts of what we believe contributes to a wholesome tennis, which obviously are, fundamentals, technique, physical, mindset, all of those things. And Tarun,
Yeah.
anything else you want to add?
That's about it, I think. I think with that, I think we can come to an end. We're really looking forward to the rest of the hard court season, and then the clay court. I think Miami is coming up next. I think it's next week, and then of course after that, I think it's going to be the clay court season, the break, and then clay court. So really looking forward to the pro season, both on the ATP and the WTA sides.
Really quick question to you, Tarun, and to Craig, before we sign off. Any players you're looking forward to watching who you think are going to have a pretty good run of form for the rest of the hardcourt season before we get on to clay? Any
So
picks?
yeah, so for me, for the men, Fonseca, I think he'll be, even though the second half of this hard court season between Acapulco and Indian Wells and Miami, I don't know how he'll do in Miami, but I know he didn't have a very good Indian Wells. Fonseca for the clay court. And then I'm really rooting, interested in watching, and from an operational standpoint, how she plays on clay. Emma Navarro, she's such a good tennis player, high IQ, a great athlete. She's got everything. And if she could put things together on the clay,
Yeah.
I think she could be just amazing. And she could be a transcendental player for, I think it could be amazing. So I'm looking forward to Fonseca and Navarro for the clay court season for sure.
Yeah. For me, clay court definitely looking out. Well, very interested to see how Iga is going to play. I don't think she played a very good match, especially going by what I saw on Instagram. Some of those videos of her getting mad and some bad attitude, showing some bad. At least that's what I saw on Instagram. Uh, I think she will be like. I think looking forward to the clay court season, and she's the queen of clay right now. So let's see what happens in the clay court. All right, folks, with that, we come to the end of the episode. Again, at Tennis Hackery with a Y is our social media handle. We are on all the social media platforms. Instagram is the place where we are extremely active. We're also there on Facebook, X, which used to be Twitter. The video version of this podcast, or the wadcast, as they say, goes to YouTube. The audio version will go to your favorite podcasting platform, which means that whatever is your favorite audio podcast app, whether it's Podbean, whether it's Apple Podcasts or Spotify, it will be there. Uh, Again, thank you very much for being a part of the Tennis Hackery and giving us your attention. Please, please, please like, share, subscribe, comment, and engage with us in all our social media platforms. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Guys, take care.